Interface Video presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities, and the Frankie Smith Funeral Home.
Hello friends, and welcome to Fairfield Today. I'm your host, Paul Jassogne. Thank you for joining us. We're broadcasting and telecasting from the lobby at Fairfield Federal downtown, our usual little nook and cranny here as we're tucked away on the side, just inside the Main Street door. A very nice day here in Lancaster as we're doing our taping today. Coming up later in the show, talk about a new subject for us to talk about, the 2020 census. There's lots going on. People really haven't heard much about it, I think, at this point, but it's time to kind of get geared up for that because it's becoming, as we move into this last quarter of the year and then into 2020, we talk about the census. Very important thing going on for all of us to be involved in that and do it the right way, and how we can do it the right way. We'll talk to a representative from the Census Bureau on that. First segment, though, glad to have Scott Reed back with us from United Way. Scott, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Paul.
Always a couple of times a year we're able to have you on, but gosh, we could probably have you on 7 or 8 times. There are so many events that United Way is involved with pretty much year-round.
Yes.
Always a lot going on, banquets and events and runs and walks and campaigns. Gosh, every month is busy.
It is. You know, it's hard to believe it's been a little over a year now since I took over with Sherry's retirement, and have just been blown away. 25 years I'd given United Way and thought I knew a lot, but boy, I've learned a lot about United Way and how much really goes on over the last year.
And those are some of the things we'll talk about a little bit later on in the show, is because as you indicated, you're somebody, we all have been people that give to United Way, but I think certainly for an outsider like me, and at that point an outsider like you,
right,
you gave your money, you thought, oh, it's a good cause and I know it'll do well, but you don't know the kind of the bones of how it's gone. We'll talk about some of that because there are some confusing things, and we'll get to that. But coming up real shortly, we've had the campaign kickoff. You're well underway. The year is going strong. Angela Cryle, great executive head of this for this year. We're looking forward to that. But first thing I know we got coming up here is a big event down at the fairgrounds.
Yes, yeah, we're right around the corner. That thing has
gotten big.
It has. We have several hundred runners come and run in our United Way 5K.
I've been in it. I've run in that myself. Yeah.
Last year, my first one, I was shocked. We were single-digit temperatures, and I still think we had several hundred people there, and they ran it.
They tell you if it's a bad day to watch, it's a good day to run, but that's a good day to run.
Yeah. So really pleased with the turnout. We're looking forward to it this year. A beautiful setting. Everyone, you get a run around the fairgrounds, you get a run through Rising Park.
Oh, it's nice.
It's a really nice run, and I'm not a runner, but it's my understanding it's a beautiful setting, and it's a pretty economical run for these parks. So I think that helps to pull people
now,
in.
What is it, $25?
$25 this year.
$25, and they can get more information on your website.
They can get more information on our website. They can register online through our website if they're interested in running in it. We do have a discount for veterans, so
nice.
I believe we take that down to $10, I think, for a veteran to run.
Very good.
Because it's right around Veterans Day when that occurs.
Yeah, very good. And that is November
8th.
I can't remember.
9th.
Okay,
yes,
November 9th, Saturday morning, early.
Yes.
I know it's early.
That's
how
Saturday
it works.
morning, yes.
There's donuts there. There's lots of good things going on. Bananas. They always have a nice setup.
Yes, lots of music, lots of action, and we have a good time.
Get your heart going on that.
That's right.
So your workplace campaign is underway.
It is. We, it is the core, in essence, of what we are and how we raise funds. And we are blessed in Fairfield County to have so many businesses that are supportive of us. And every business has a campaign coordinator that leads as a volunteer to raise funds for the United Way at their workplace. And we go do presentations and we share the message of what we're doing and what our partners are doing with them. But yeah, it's great. We've really tried to focus over the last year and hope to, moving forward, to do a better job of being more front of mind all the time, beyond just our events, but talking about the impact of United Way donors' dollars on a more regular basis. As with every United Way, this workplace campaign is really the core of how we raise money to help the community.
And what's the goal in terms of dollars?
Just a little less than $1.7 million. So our goal this year is $1,680,000.
And it doesn't seem that long ago. I don't even know who ran the campaign that year, but it was $1,000,001 that
Yeah.
they put it. That was the first, and that hasn't been that long ago. And now already the need is up to 1.7.
It is, and we really are encouraging people, and that's why we want to get the message out more about how the impact is occurring. You said it earlier, when I started giving to United Way, it's because, hey, I know United Way is going to take it and they're going to do good with it. But we recognize that in today's market, people, they want to see and they want to hear more about the impact. So we're trying to share those messages more often to really encourage people to understand how valuable it is to be part of United Way and be a donor. So a lot more on social media and things like that, talking about not just giving, but why, what the dollars are doing in the community.
And that kind of leads us to that point. I think most people who give locally, Lancaster, Fairfield County, they want to see the money stay locally. And sometimes words gets out that perhaps aren't straight on that. So why don't you square us away? Local money stays local.
Local money stays local. Look, United Way is a worldwide brand. The easiest way I know to describe it is it's kind of like a franchise. We are getting the benefit and utilizing the benefit of their brand and their materials. We're a small group, so that we get a lot of resources available through that affiliation with the national and worldwide brand. But at the end of the day, every United Way in the country is a separate entity. Yeah. So the United Way of Fairfield County is its own entity, right, and we are here solely to serve Fairfield County. Now, I will note, for those that maybe work in Fairfield County and live out of our county,
right,
you can, the only money that leaves this county is money that gets designated out of this
right,
county.
Right.
Not otherwise.
And you can do that if you give.
Absolutely, and you
yes,
can designate locally as well.
Sure.
If you have something you're really passionate about. I've often said the one key to United Way is I could give one gift, and it was spread amongst 20 plus agencies throughout our community that I could say I was supporting. 23 agencies, 29 total programs that are funded through United Way funding. But I get it. There's some people that have that great passion, and you
sure,
absolutely have the ability to designate where your money is being utilized.
And I'm involved. I'm on the board of Maywood Mission, one of the groups that receive money from you, and I can tell you that you apply for the money, but it's not automatic. I'll guarantee you that if you give to that, these agencies that get it, and the amount they get, they hold agencies' feet to the fire much more in the last few years than perhaps it was early on. Not that the money always didn't go for good causes, but if an agency gets the money now, they have to prove they need the money and they need the amount they're asking for.
Exactly, and and to your point, I think that had always been there, but maybe it wasn't being shared
right,
a lot.
Right.
And now it's more, because it's about impact. Our three bold goals. We want to focus on education, financial stability, and health, and that's what the agencies come and they ask for money to fund programs that are benefiting our community in one of those areas. And we have local volunteer committees, councils that review those requests, and it's our job to tell them what the real pressing immediate needs are in our community, and then it's those local volunteers that are deciding how the money that is raised is spent.
Speaking with Scott Reed, Scott is the director. Just a little over a year now, about a year ago, we were talking to him, his feet were just hitting the ground right now as he got in on this, and it's been an exciting year, an eye-opening year. I have no doubt for you as somebody, again, familiar, a giver to United Way, but now you're on the inside, you're kind of seeing how the sausage is made on United Way, and interesting year. I bet you've learned a lot.
A ton. The biggest thing I think I've learned is it's so much more than, everyone talks about the heartstrings or that kind of the handout story, I sometimes call it. And it's there, that's always there, and it's not that it's not valuable and it's not important. But what a lot of people maybe haven't heard about and what we're hoping to share more moving forward is the hand up story. The fact that, okay, because someone has an immediate need today, how is Maywood Mission then going to turn around and tell us, okay, so you gave this to them today, how is that helping them to that ultimate goal of self-sufficient?
Right.
And really trying to talk about that impact in the community. And it's been there, and we want to do a better job of sharing it. But I think the biggest, if you talk about what have I learned over the last year, is the 23 agencies we work with, the directors and the staff and the boards that are involved with all of those organizations, the passion and commitment is off the charts.
No.
I mean, you knew they cared about what they did, but I don't know that words can really describe the dedication and passion that these people show for what they're trying to accomplish for our community.
Well, it's amazing work you do. One thing, I think you touched on it again, the phrase you're trying to get to is not necessarily a hand out, but a hand up.
Right.
And you've seen that occur where perhaps people who are helped have gone on to be successful in the community, do whatever they're doing, go to school, get a job, whatever, but then they've come back and actually helped the United Way.
They have. That's the full circle in my mind. Someone has gone from needing support or help to get to the next level and stage in their life, and now they're turning around and they're going full circle and they're giving back to United Way so they can help the next person that needs help.
We've got about a minute left. If somebody, and I can't imagine anybody in Lancaster, Fairfield County, who isn't aware of Fairfield County United Way, but if somebody hasn't been contacted or they don't think they will to give, how can somebody get involved?
Go to our website, social media. Either one of those will get you there. We just revamped our website.
Nice.
Brand new website. We have been doing a ton of posting on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. There's tons of ways to find out, what we're doing and ways that you can get involved. That's the easiest way. You can donate. You can look for opportunities to volunteer your time. It's all there and available to you.
And I want to mention just staff. We've had some changes there. You kind of all new folks down there doing a great job.
I'm the seasoned veteran now, so a little over a year, and I'm the seasoned veteran. And the great news is there was a really good core that built a really strong organization, and we're all blessed to be there. And there's one thing, change is inevitable, change is good, and we have just a level of enthusiasm at our office that is unmatched, and we're all really excited in there for the right reason to make things happen in Fairfield County.
And the website is?
uwayfairfieldco.org.
Okay, but if you go to the search engine, you just put United Way, that'll even bring you to Fairfield County. But if you get in Fairfield County, it'll certainly get you there.
Yes.
So it's a great story to tell out there. I know you'll tell it 1,000 times in the next year to get it done, but it's always worth hearing. One of the great organizations, again, helps so many other great organizations here. They're kind of the overseer of the money that if you're involved in a nonprofit, they probably get money from United Way. So thanks for all the work you and your staff do down there. It's a good story to tell. We appreciate it.
Thanks for that.
Thanks. Scott Reed, Executive Director of United Way. Get involved. Go to the website, look up, see how you can get involved. We'll be back in just a moment.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our two locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
Fairfield Medical goes the extra mile to give attention to their patients, to their guests, anybody that comes within those doors.
There's no question that the staff there are all personally invested in seeing that I got the best care possible.
The staff was so comforting. I felt like she was in the best hands.
They basically gave me a second chance at life, and I'm going to make the most of it.
Welcome to Dream Machine. Like to be part of Dream Machine, keep me busy, and it's also important that we do it together as a group, and we plow and plant, and we have lots of produce. We have tomatoes like one here, and gourds, cucumbers, squash, crawberries, beets, microgreens. We also have flower arrangement, and we also sell bags, those tote bags out of animal food bags, and we sell them out in the market, farmers market.
It's a special place that keeps people healthy by eating a couple fruits and vegetables. I always show people, first time they pick raspberries and green beans, I show them how to do it like they do it wrong. Picking raspberries and green beans is simplest, easy for me. we're entering some things in the fair like pumpkins. The gourds were growing, and everyone likes them. Tasty.
Welcome back to Fairfield Today. I want to thank Scott Reed for joining us. Always a good story to be told with United Way. And we'll change the tempo a little bit and talk about the 2020 census coming up here. Before you know it, we're getting involved in it now. We'll talk about it for next year in just a moment with some folks that know about the U.S. Census. We'll talk to a representative from the local area on that. Thank the good folks here at Fairfield Federal for joining us. Again, we're into the fall time of the year. Before you know it, we'll be asking if all your presents have been bought. That's scary, but that'll be coming up very shortly. But as we're into the fall right now, the good weather, the fair just was here, and again, wonderful Fairfield County Fair. We love going to that. But as we move to this time of year, there's still plenty of time. If you have interest in perhaps renovating a home, there's still time to get that done. Or if you're perhaps even thinking about moving to a new home, a good place to start to look is right here at Fairfield Federal. They have the main office where we are today, right downtown. Then they also have the West Side branch over at Pierce and Fair Avenue, and then at Cross Creek Boulevard up in Pickerington. Those are the locations. You can go on the website, find those addresses, find the phone numbers. If you have questions, call up, talk to local people who will be making local decisions, and that's always a plus, I think, if you're going to talk about it. And if you end up getting a loan here or doing something through this, you know it's not going to be sold off to some other financial institution. If you deal with Fairfield Federal, that's where you're always going to stay locally, and that's good to know. So a good place to start to find those answers is fairfieldfederal.com. Again, we want to turn our attention from United Way over to as we promoted a little bit, the census coming up in 2020. Aaron Dagras is a partnership specialist, and we'll find out what that is in just a moment. But a partnership specialist. Aaron, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Sure,
it's great to be
here. And well, first of all, what is a partnership? Is this just media person?
No, not really, actually. I tend to not do a lot of media, believe it or not. What my job with the Bureau is, I cover 6 counties as a partnership specialist with the United States Census Bureau, and I work directly with local government entities, elected officials, nonprofits, and community businesses on building their game plan and strategy to make sure we get a complete and accurate count in the 2020 census.
Now, just on here earlier was Scott Reed with United Way, and you're involved with the United Way a little bit.
Yeah, you know, the United Way has been a fabulous partnership for us at the census, really sharing their networks and connections with us to help support the community and make sure that we get that complete and accurate count, because you know, the United Way knows that this census count is going to impact our community for the next decade, and determines over $675 billion in annual funding from the federal government that makes its way back down to communities. And organizations like the United Way know the impact that has on funding for all sorts of different programs throughout the community.
Well, I think part of your job, and I was fortunate to hear you speak a couple of weeks ago, and now we're really nice to have you on here today, and we appreciate that. But I think part of your job is to try to raise the awareness so that when people are contacted, they respond.
That is correct. Part of the job overall in working with all of these different organizations and entities is raising that awareness, educating the population as to the what's in it for me aspect of the census and how it directly impacts everybody in our communities, whether or not you are the most fortunate individual living within our communities or the least fortunate individual living within our communities. Everyone is still using EMS services, fire services, our roads, our bridges, so everyone is directly impacted in one way, shape, or form. And that's where that education awareness piece truly comes in getting people to understand that what's in it for me aspect of the census so that we increase full participation, we get that complete and accurate count in 2020.
Well, in 2020, how will people be contacted?
People will be invited around the second week in March, about March 12th. Okay. They'll be contacted, 95% of the country will be contacted with an invitation in the mail, asking them to go online.
In the mail first.
Correct, correct. They'll receive an invitation in the mail that will ask them to then go online and respond, or use the phone and respond, or request a mail-in ballot. And what's great about it this year is moving to that online ability. We're able to complete that census this year in under 10 minutes. We're talking 9 questions.
Wow.
Get in, get out, get done. It's safe, it's easy, and it's important, and we're really focusing on that.
Now, when I heard you speak before, didn't you say you're bringing on some people for this time of year for into 2020 that will be able to help with this?
Absolutely. This is the largest peacetime activity that the federal government undertakes. We're talking hiring over 500,000 people across the country.
Wow.
And we like to hire locally and train locally. So right now we even have census personnel in the field doing what's called our address canvassing operation, where they're out verifying addresses, taking a look at what may be new developments, what may have been torn down developments, asking some very simple questions about those residences just to make sure that our database is correct as we look towards 2020. And then we'll be looking to hire and staff enumerators across the country to do that non-response follow-up, to go door to door, to ask questions for people who do not respond via mail, via phone, or online.
So you're giving people plenty of opportunities to respond to this, but if they don't, there is follow-up procedures in place.
There is. We encourage everyone to
Sure.
go online and respond, or to respond via phone or mail, but we will have other practices in place where we'll send census enumerators to the door, and anyone who's interested in being a census enumerator or any of these jobs can easily go to census.gov/jobs. These jobs are very in shape and scope, from part-time to full-time, some flexibility in hours, and they range in pay from $12.50 an hour to $32.50 an hour, depending on the location and the position. So.
And again, I think we need to highlight again the amount of money that we're talking about here of the federal government to get this done accurately. What did you say, $675 billion or?
Correct. It is over $675 billion annually that's allocated from the federal government to local governments, municipalities, tribal governments across the country based off of that census data. And we're locked into that census data for the next decade. So it's really, really important that we make sure we get everyone counted so that everyone gets their fair share of that $675 billion.
It's important to note, and I think we touched on that, this is only done every 10 years. So it's important to get an accurate count, because what will be done now and into 2020, beginning in March, will carry us through that entire decade.
That is 100% correct. Like I said, we are locked into those numbers for the next decade. And I know I talked a little bit about this with you at Kiwanis. We're talking about undercounting things like children and the impact that has in our community. So if we miss a child in this upcoming census, say a 4-year-old girl here in Lancaster, the next opportunity that child will have to be counted would be in 2030. The next time funding comes around for the programs that child is eligible for, we're talking 2031. That child's now a freshman or a sophomore in high school, and programs that are funded based off of that she should have had access to, things like Head Start, other pre-K opportunities, school lunch programs, the SNAP program, children's health insurance, Medicaid access, all of those programs end up improperly funded because that child was missed. And that's why it's so important we make sure we get everyone counted in the 2020 census.
Talking with Aaron Dagris with the census. He's a partnership specialist, really deals with kind of making sure that everything gets out there in a timely manner, and we all fill this out. And what you just touched on, I think, is important, because, well, I didn't put my daughter down. That's no big deal. She's only 4 years old. But exponentially, if that's done enough times around the country, by the time it gets counted again and they maybe need some more, maybe those programs are gone.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but when we don't get that accurate count, it's going to directly impact us for over a decade. So making sure we raise that awareness, and that's what I do as a partnership specialist. I get out there, I educate trusted leaders within our communities to help spread that messaging and raise that awareness so that we get that full participation in 2020.
And you touched on it earlier too. When it comes time to actually fill this out and get involved in it, not very long, not a big piece of your life will come out to do this.
That is correct. We like to say it's easy, it's safe, and it's important. You should be able to complete the census form in 10 minutes or less. It's about 9 questions. You can actually go online to 2020census.gov, search for the questionnaire, and
can you do that
see
now?
a sample. You can do that now.
Oh, just a sample now.
Yeah, you can't fill it out now,
right.
but you can see exactly what it's going to look like.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, what was the address again?
It is 2020census.gov. And then just do a search for the questionnaire and it'll pop up for you, and you can actually have a look at that sample questionnaire as you prepare for 2020.
And it's a good website, very interactive, easy to navigate and get around. And I think, again, it's a few questions on there, maybe just a few minutes of your time in March. From that point on, you'll be doing it. But I think it's important to note some questions that will not be asked. There are certain things that you do not, and this is a day and age where everybody is worried about information getting out there mistakenly or some with the dark web or somebody coming in there to find out. There are certain things that you'll not be asked on this too.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's very important. You're never going to be invited to respond to the census via an email from anyone. You're not going to be asked things like banking information, social security numbers. None of that stuff will ever be asked by the Census Bureau for the upcoming 2020 census. So it's very important that if anyone out there comes across information like that, receives emails, forward those to your elected officials that we're working with immediately, and they will reach out. We'll make sure that we get that nipped in the bud. We're working with partners across the country in data to really kind of squelch some of that, but in anticipation of that, if anything comes up, by all means, please reach out, let us know, and we'll work hard to combat some of that misinformation that may be out there, because we don't want anyone's safety and security at risk. The Census Bureau takes your safety and security very important. It is protected under the U.S. Code that we protect all personally identifiable information and do not release that to the public. The only information that we do release is in statistical format only. We keep everything safe, secure. We actually swear a lifetime oath at the Census Bureau to protect that information that's punishable by up to $250,000 in fines and up to 5 years of imprisonment if we were to violate that. We cannot share that information with local law enforcement, with landlords, with ICE, with the FBI. It all stays private and secure with the Census Bureau.
And as always, and you touched on that too, there's always somebody's trying to scam it. I'm sure every year you see and people tell you about things that are not the right thing.
Sure, and that comes down to awareness and messaging. And by working with all these trusted leaders within the community, we're trying to build those partnerships to make sure that the community knows what may or may not be the census data or the census survey itself, or the questions that we would ask. It's getting that information out so that everybody is aware of what to expect in 2020, so we can combat any of that. But we have teams working on this, and we're not overly concerned with a lot of that being an issue. It's very important, though, that we make sure that we keep all of your data safe, and that's what we're working hard to do. The census is really, it's safe, it's easy, and it's important.
Well, he deals with the local government. It's important to know that a lot of the funding that goes on, a lot of the things that happen here right across the street in City Hall, you're involved in a lot of that. A lot of that comes from information that people share to build this database.
Our address list database?
Yes.
Sure. We actually have built our database through several different steps. It started with our local update of census addresses, where we share our database with local governments, and the county level here in Ohio actually verified that, added new developments, things that were torn down. Then this operation we have in the field right now called address canvassing has census personnel actually re-verifying, looking for any discrepancies. We partner that with the U.S. Postal Service to make sure we have the most accurate list possible as we look towards 2020.
It's easy, it's safe, and it's important. That's what we're going to go with.
Easy, safe, and important.
Very good.
3 key words that help you remember the importance of the upcoming census, the safety of it, and the security of it.
Well, it's Aaron Dagris with the United States Census Bureau here, and again, you'll be hearing more about that. And again, you could just go online. You can, and the website was again
2020census.gov.
And you can Google that and find anything you want there, and you'll get right to it. Again, look at the questions, kind of get a primer on what's going on, and then come March, showtime.
Absolutely, and then April 1st is official census day, but you will be invited that second week of March to start responding.
Very good. So, Aaron, thanks for joining us. It's important, and we want to make sure everybody is aware of that and can do their part.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Sure. Aaron Dagris with the Census Bureau, thanks for joining us. And thank you for joining us in Fairfield today.
Interface Video presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities, and the Frankie Smith Funeral Home.